Hello and welcome to another update on Bitcoin. I'm here on the larger time frame for Bitcoin. Again, I wanna take a look at the larger time frame as well. I want to give you a different perspective in this video. What I like to do on these videos is just kind of expand the horizon a little bit on this channel, right? This is a channel where we cover the bigger picture. Sometimes we look at additional indicators, and so on. So I'll take a look at the linear chart with you today on the weekly chart. I don't usually share this one in public. The linear chart is obviously, let's say inferior. It's a chart that sometimes gives us just, some different patterns, different support resistance levels to watch. There are many people who still use linear charts, even though they are kind of outdated, but still they can give us additional patterns to watch. And I always like to obviously, share with you all the data I've got, right? But please note that the linear chart I'd always treat it only as alternative, okay? But it helps us to just have a different perspective on the chart, right? I mean, overall, there isn't really much more we can analyze here on the daily chart. This is, by the way, the log chart. This is the one that we normally use. I only made a video yesterday about the logarithmic chart and the daily time frame scenarios, and I shared with you like last week, just in addition to what we said last week. This week, particularly now, the resistance area is relevant and the support area. So we're still moving between these parameters, between these sets of parameters. We're still moving between support and resistance. The first resistance area is between $92,734 and $101,156. Now, if you watched yesterday's update, and also if you follow my updates on the More Crypto Online channel, where I cover cryptos every single day in high frequency, or if you are on X and follow us on X, then you know that a larger wave 4 was slightly preferred. I'm talking about a wider wave 4. It's looking good right now. It's looking good. We have not yet broken out above the swing high from Friday, but it looks as if the market indeed wants to reach that $96,850 level. Again, this is what we were looking for, a larger A, B, C structure in wave 4. Not needed, but if you watched yesterday's video, then you might remember that I showed you that this is very much in line with what the wave 2 did. So this would look best in terms of proportions. Now, again, I can only really show you the alternative pathways, as alternatives, right? And the primary count, the preferred interpretation is always the, let's say, perfect scenario. The market isn't always following the perfect scenario, but we have a promising reaction to our support zone, to the first support zone, yeah? So if we go higher, then the market has a good chance to reach 96,850 next, but a break above 101,150 would open the door to more directly bullish interpretations, all right? But for now, I see no reason to change the count. The orange scenario for now remains preferred until we see how the market actually reacts to resistance. And we have seen already a first reaction. So that gave me further confirmation that we should still favor orange. And the risk of one more low is always high. You will always find me be more on the side of caution than maybe others, just because I understand how important risk management is. But don't get me wrong, I also accumulated a bit because I still see the oversold nature of the price action, right? I still see the tendency of a larger bounce. Remember, in previous updates, we talked about the so-called death cross, that whenever the death cross crossed, we usually saw around about a 40 to 45% increase afterwards, at least, yeah. Also, we said that there's a good likelihood that the market will test a 55-week EMA. Not sure if I show it here. No, I don't. But it's currently located between the 50% retracement and the 61.8 retracement. Maybe we even break above it. That happened in previous cycles very often. After a break below the 55-week EMA, we reclaimed it, even if just for a short period. But anyway, at the moment, I like the idea of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be an A wave. There's a high risk. Let's see it the other way around. There's a high risk that we will test the April lows until the market can finally break above resistance. All right, so that's how I would frame it. But a wider wave 4, a bounce into resistance, was still preferred. The market is following that today. So this is kind of the daily chart overview. That means all eyes need to really be on this area, especially the area between 96,850 and $101,150. Now, I wanna take a look at the Bitcoin linear chart, the long-term linear chart. Now, this gives you, let's say, a slightly different outlook. Yeah. This is a scenario that allows for an interpretation of a bear market, technically a bear market that might have started. But even in this scenario that we have on this linear chart, in which we moved up in a wave 1 into the 2021 highs, A, B, C in wave 2. Then we saw 5 waves up into the November 24 high, a wave 4 and a wave 5. This gives me a completed 5-wave pattern. So the decline might have been an A wave, which could still get another low. Like, that is very much aligned with what I just showed you on our daily chart, right? This is the 4-day, or you could even call it the weekly chart on the linear chart, on the linear scale. Now, another low wouldn't rule out that this is an A, B, C structure. It would rather confirm it further, I think. I'm using this scenario here. I'm using this scale. I'm using this chart to give you a different perspective and also to share with you additional support parameters, okay, and resistances. So what I'm looking at here is a chart that has reached a standard Fibonacci support zone around 84K. If we break below 84K, then clearly the area around the April lows will be support, and then the 71 to 70K area. This is the 2021 high and also the 50% retracement. So I would assume there is going to be some strong support there. If we get a bounce from here, it could simply be an overshooting B wave. That would be one interpretation. Or, and that's also something I'm thinking about, this here is simply a wave 4. And we get one more high in wave 5. I mean, that's also possible, right? I've just highlighted it one more high. That would be wave 1. That one more high in a B wave that can even overshoot and might reach the area around 135, 136K. Or it could be an extension of wave. So extension of wave 1 or a high B wave, okay? Now the thing is, and this is something we need to be prepared for, imagine orange wave 4 unfolds as a triangle. Wouldn't that be draining, right? How would that look like? A wave down, B wave up, C wave down, D wave up, E wave down, like this, right? Wouldn't that be absolutely horrible? We got to be prepared for that. And because this is like the weekly time frame, this would be super boring and draining, I gotta say. I think there might be a chance, if that actually happens, that altcoins would do quite well. Again, I just wanted to point that out to you. I would never fully dismiss the linear chart. It just gives us a different perspective. It is kind of inferior because the Fib levels are not so relevant, but for various reasons that I talked about in many previous updates. And it also distorts price action clearly, right? Because this is not, prices are not moving in linear ways. Like, it just isn't, especially in a market that's so volatile. But yeah, I think that gives you a good idea. I mean, that means in all scenarios, we should be really close to a meaningful low before the next bounce starts. Yeah, that's why I started to accumulate a couple of weeks ago a bit. Yeah, not heavy. Not in heavy. Not really large positions or anything. But we have reached a trend line. We've reached a Fib level. We've reached basically the area around the April lows. Not quite yet, but nearly. So yeah, that's how I see the market, and that is to a degree very much compatible with the logarithmic chart in my scenarios on the daily time frame. That's the update on Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in additional updates, make sure to follow us via our membership as well. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.